Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining me on When I Stop Fighting, the podcast. Right now, we're going to do a few videos in the middle of the season that are compilations, which went over really well at the end of the season last year. And what they are is they're just gems of wisdom that I've pulled out. And some have to do with recovery, some have to do with trauma, some have to do with grief, some have to do with the difficult experiences we all go through in life and how they were dealt with. I think they'll be helpful. They're going to be short, so probably 10 minutes, maybe 15 at the most. And I hope you enjoy. So I start my day with some quiet, and then it reverberates throughout the day, you know, in terms of how that affects me or how life doesn't run over me generally. And I don't run over myself, because I think that's the greatest fight we have is me against me, right? And that's I think ultimately what we have to overcome. I've spent a long time fighting the world, fighting other people, fighting this, fighting that, and I finally figured out, the fight's with me, and sometimes that takes a while to truly integrate.
And that's like the key to sobriety, is like, it's not becoming stagnant and like, you know, this is who I am the rest of my life. It's like, okay, cool. Let's reinvent who that is into the next version or iteration of yourself for that next thing, which for, you know, let's be honest, a lot of addicts and alcoholics, they haven't even really, a lot of them, especially the ones younger, don't even know what that looks like. You know, they went straight from being in their parents' house and using and drinking to adulthood as an addict. And it's almost like having to learn who you are and go down that journey of self-discovery.
Resentments.
Oh, yeah.
That's
what
what
the killer. That's the killer.
It is the killer, and it's a drug. They don't talk about it like that in the big book or in the rooms so much, but I do. I was addicted to my resentments. It's a chemistry change that happens when I'm on that rotten son of a bitch that did that to me. God damn it. Oh, I can taste it. It's an actual physical change in my body when I'm on that resentment horse. And while I'm doing it, I am not looking at myself in any way. And therefore, I am not growing in any way.
We got to work. Daryl. That's what we did. We got to work. I was not happy. I was not joyous. I was not free. Every single day was like, the Salvation Army got us busy from 5 a.m. till 9 o'clock at night. I needed that. I needed that time frame for someone to tell me, you got to do this. Don't care. Nowhere on your birth certificate does it say life is fair.
And for whatever reason, like I had this moment like, oh, I'd really like to call my mom and tell her about this. But my mom's been gone since 2015. And then I was hit with a wave of grief. Being at work, I was like, oh, I can't process this now. Here's where the God thing comes in. Like within 10 minutes, my daughter calls me. And I was like, what's up? You know what I mean? I think that was the universe saying, okay, you don't have your mom, but you got your daughter and you have this relationship, and look at how beautiful it is now.
It's more helping people kind of reconcile themselves to the fact that the people around them who have the things that they want probably work pretty hard for them. And particularly people who can fall asleep and have peace of mind, that takes a lot more work than a lot of people really know. Confronting problems is difficult. And it's a skill that you gotta develop if you want to have a life that's worth living. And so that's why I really like about your message is something like that of, put your work boots on.
I just love the exploration of life, and I love to, and I think this is important for people coming in, or maybe they're, they've been sober for a while and they haven't, sort of hit that their stride yet, but keep the doors open from an exploration perspective. Don't get stuck on one thing or one modality or one way. There's many, many ways, to go back to your phrase, to feed your soul. And I feel like that's really what it boils down to. If we're feeding our soul, we're moving in the right direction.
I mean, I got sober in 93, 94, and 12 steps wasn't the only option. Even then, there were other options. LifeRing, I'm on the board. Their parent, SOS, was there. Smart's parent was there. Women for Sobriety, I found all those when I got home. So they put me at risk. But on the other hand, what that forced me to do was take ownership of my recovery from day one. Like, I always viewed myself as the decision maker, and I always viewed it as my job to listen. Like, I read all of the AA Big Book. I read all of the NA text. I would listen to people talking about things they were doing during the smoke break at the NA meeting. You know, like I was proactively open and absorbing the ideas, but I always viewed it as my job to decide which of these techniques and strategies and philosophies are a good fit for me. Which ones am I going to apply? And it turned out that taking that approach actually, in the long run, I think helped me.
That's the thing about the number one symptom of addiction. It's a little bit of a joke, but I think it's true. The top thing about addiction that makes it difficult to treat is the number one symptom is that we think we don't have it. There aren't many other maladies in the human world that has that as the first symptom. Right. I don't think I have this broken leg. I don't, my arm's been chopped off, and I deny that well, actually, there are other ones like bipolar disorder. People, what do you mean I'm bipolar? I'm just happy. There's some exceptions to it, but it is just so vivid that people don't think they have it, or they don't think they have it as bad as they actually have it.
You want to be cognizant of who you are bringing along for the ride, and make sure that they're in sync with you, that you think alike as far as priorities, because that's going to increase the level of your success. Seriously, you can get around people that are like-minded and focused on the better things. I mean, how secure that can make your recovery is highly underestimated, in my opinion.
A lot of people will say, "Oh, gee, I'm sorry, that you had to go through that or endure that or whatever it is." And it's like, no, that was the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because that's what put me on my path to where I am today. Had I not overcome addiction or been confronted with 10 years in prison or all the things that I went through, I wouldn't be in this amazing position today to be able to not only help other people who are like me, but to employ tons of people who were like me. That is the majority of my staff are people who've overcome addiction themselves. And it's interesting because you and I were talking about this earlier about, well, do former addicts make good employees? And the very short answer is absolutely.
I view happiness now as really more about contentment, about enjoying my day-to-day life, about setting my life up in a way that meets my needs, and also that allows me to do the things that I really want to do the most, that it allows me to challenge myself in the ways I want to be challenged, and to have sort of the right amount of relationships at the right level, of intensity, and all of those kind of things together. So my definition and my understanding of happiness has changed a lot during my recovery process.
And so when they have somebody who has been through that to go, it's okay, take things one problem at a time, one day at a time. You're not going to fix all this at once and in a day. That kind of guidance is really helpful for people who are just in that early state.
Those underlying crazy things were still there. I was still insecure, trying to prove myself by achievements, trying to find love and affection through picking unattainable men. I was still going sideways. I just had some self-help skills that kept me from drinking as a coping skill for my struggles.
Mm.
And that worked for a long time until I stopped taking care of myself, which happened gradually and slowly.
It's just that my continued success in recovery hinges on the principle of service work. And if there's no other message that I can relay tonight or today or this morning, is that service work, generally speaking, is not friendly. What does that mean? I don't oftentimes look forward to it. I usually make the commitment. It feels so good to make a service commitment, right? Like, oh, I feel good that I'm going to do something good. Well, life continues to move on, and that service commitment's getting closer. And like this, I get nervous. I'm going to have to talk. He's going to put this on something. But once I'm in it, once I am there, once I'm downtown handing out socks to the homeless, once I'm sticking my hand out and pulling a brother in that's on the street and giving them a hug, asking them their names, man, it feels so good.
It's not about what you should do. It's about what you will do. Let me slow that down. It's not about what you should do. It's about what you will do.
The title of the book is Broken Trust, Uncle Fran, the Family Child Molester, a memoir, and it's a guide to prevention and thriving after child sexual abuse.
Thank you. Yeah. And it's, you know, again, the courage it took to do that, and the courage to talk about it and, you know, spread that message, and also the message of recognizing and understanding and finding help and finding answers, I think is incredibly important and absolutely crucial. So I know you're going to touch many, many, many lives. And that's one of the wonderful things. We may never know the lives that we touch, and that's okay. I can still be heading south, even if I get rid of the substances. So I've got to learn how to head north. And that's what the 12 steps did for me. And one of the terms you use, which I love, last time we spoke, was coughing up the hairballs. And the 12 steps, by going through the 12 steps and opening to a different way of living and living with some gratitude and some integrity and doing what resonates inside me as the right things, those hairballs come up, man. They come up. And so even though it's not, for me, even though it's not necessarily discussed as conditioning or domestication or trauma, like that stuff comes up, it starts bubbling. If you've enjoyed When I Stop Fighting the podcast, please check out my books and my journals on my website, DarylDittmer.com. Enjoy a 15% discount by using the code PODCAST, DARYLDITTMER.com. Thanks again.